This is Faik Bouhrik, the founder of Vegius, and I have a live today with lovely people from the administration of Lily's Place Sanctuary in Canada, and they will be joining me shortly. Can you guys hear me? So let's see. Okay. Oh, there you are. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Sarah. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. I think Sarah is still okay. Let's add Sarah. All right. Perfect. Can you guys see me?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So we just okay, there she is. Okay, perfect. Okay, all of us are here. Yeah, I was just saying that to our audience is that we have a live today, and we have a very important topic that it was such a synchronicity because it came up in one of the short videos that I do, and those videos are actually just reflections of thoughts that happen at the time that I record them, so they are not rehearsed or anything, but it was something, things that I reflect on prior. And for you guys in your meeting, you had the same thing, discuss the same topic. So, and we wanted to meet today so that we can continue talking about that extremely important topic.
Okay.
So can you please tell me? Can you guys hear me still?
Oh, there you are. Yeah, I can now.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, perfect. So I was just introducing the topic, and so very briefly, this is Lily's Place sanctuary, very lovely sanctuary from Canada, and then I'm going to let the team tell you a little bit about it. And Faik Bouhrik, I'm the founder of Vegius, and so we are going back to doing these lives, and this was again such a synchronicity because I was starting to reach out to new sanctuaries. So this is our first live after a hiatus that we took while we were working on a few things. All right, guys, so welcome. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourselves as well as about the Lily's Place?
Sure. So I'll start. I'm one of the co-founders of Lily's Place Animal Sanctuary. So we've been at this since 2019. That included a move across 2 provinces to the Maritimes. So we're in New Brunswick now, and we have about 40 animals in our care, including 3 of the original rescues, which is always a nice story to tell. And Jen was our very first volunteer. So when Jen said she was moving to the Maritimes, we went, oh my gosh, we can't lose you. We're moving too, and the sanctuary. So we followed her out east, and she's the president of our board now, or the vice president of our board. Glad you act like like you feel the president role most of the time. Yeah. And then Sarah is newer to us. And she is our outreach coordinator. So she's helping people, especially local folks, to find out more about us. So she's in an advocacy role. And I'll let each of them introduce themselves a little bit, maybe just 1 or 2 things, and then we'll kick it back to you and we can get into the juicy stuff. So go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, I'm Jen. As Jamie said, I ended up being the first ever Lily's Place volunteer way back in 2019 or 2020. I can't even remember. We used to live very close to the sanctuary. We're a little bit further away now. I'm in Nova Scotia, and the sanctuary is in New Brunswick, but I still do the majority of my duties remotely with a few visits during the year to the sanctuary to be hands-on. But it was super timely because I think Jamie must have seen your post the same time we did. I'm like, we literally just had discussion about this. So you must have had your ears burning or reading our minds. So it was perfect to have this conversation because it's not one that I think a lot of people even considered. I know for sure I didn't until we had the conversation. So I think it's a great conversation to have and perfect timing.
Yeah.
So Sarah, go ahead.
I'm Sarah. I'm the outreach coordinator here. And so my goal is essentially to kind of connect us with people around our community and to share the goals and the values of Lily's Place to anybody who is willing and open to listen and to hear about the lovely, amazing animals and the beautiful work that Lily's Place does.
Okay, great, lovely, and yeah, I'm incredibly excited about this conversation, and also, I want to mention to our audience that Lily's Place is one of the sanctuaries that have partnered with Vegius, and we are about to launch the app as well as the new website. It took us a little bit, because I kept the project self-funded because I really wanted that commitment of 50% of the revenue be donated to sanctuaries. I didn't want that kind of pressure that will sort of alter it. It took us a moment, but anything that's worthwhile is going to take a little bit of time. And the idea of Vegius is really simple, is that it's a platform initially for events and stays, and automatically sanctuaries, mostly on geographic area, but we're trying to balance things out, will receive 50% of the revenue that we make from being the platform like Airbnb and Eventbrite for vegan-friendly things, even if the sanctuaries have nothing to do with that particular event. And that's exactly how we want it, because fundraising is a fundamental challenge for sanctuaries. It takes away a lot from their energy and their time. I believe a sanctuary ideally should spend the vast majority of its time doing exactly this, educating and saving lives. So hopefully, that's the vision, and as I said, it's wrapping up in the initial stage, but really looking forward to it. So tell me, guys, in that meeting, so what were you exactly talking about, and how did this particular topic come up? And then the topic is effective altruism versus the core missions of a sanctuary, and what is it exactly that the sanctuary is supposed to do. In the video I was talking about the idea that, so just to give some context, the idea of animals as numbers, and even vegans, very sadly. So I get this objection all the time. Well, sanctuaries are such a waste of resources in terms of activism, because you could reach a lot more people with a lot less money, so per animal. And to me, it's the argument is absurd on two counts. For one, is philosophical. It's just I don't want to sort of replicate in my activism the very premise of the worldview that I'm trying to dismantle, which is animals are just numbers. The other reason, it's actually practical. All the evidence indicates that the lasting change and the most effective outreach is actually people coming face to face with farmed animal sanctuaries. I think it's over 95% conversion rate, as opposed to, in terms of educational programs, any other type of educational initiative. So it's not only philosophically misguided, it is practically and factually not supported. And I just have a feeling that part of why this myth has been perpetuated is that, well, there are vested interests in terms of people who would rather, there are all types of organizations, and some organizations would like to convince you that the type of activism is the most efficient for people who think in terms of dollars, and I don't think people should. But even if they did, it's wrong on that account as well. So this is what I was thinking, and you guys can tell me how this came up, and then we can go a little bit deeper and take some questions from people as well.
Sure. So the reason it came up is because we were talking about our donors specifically, what our donors are looking for, why they support our cause, what keeps them around, and then what might be out there that would put doubt in their mind about the work we do. And effective altruism was the majority of that conversation, because the stats show how much more interest there is in farmed animals and their lives now, and their welfare. However, the money is not coming to sanctuaries, right? It's coming into, honestly, it feels like the old boys club of organizations that are still holding so much power, and kind of raining down on high to the people that are on the front lines and saying, we're going to criticize you from up here without doing the work, and we're going to also hold all the resources, so you have to work even harder to do the work you're already doing. The reason I have such a problem with it is because it's not that we don't need the initiatives that they're talking about. It's that they put a us versus them framework in place. And that's just not, part of our core values. We're looking to collaborate. We're looking to help. We're looking to save lives. And I don't think we can forget about the individuals that are here right now that we can help. Well, there is initiatives worried about how many people can we reach with leaflets or an ad or whatever. Reaching, that's like putting an ad in the newspaper and saying, we've reached this many people, but the message, the reach is there, but the connection is not. So, it's comparing apples to oranges. So that's how it came up. The whole team was on this call. We talked about it for a long time. So we have a lot to say about it. So I kind of introduced the topic, kind of got it on our, kind of into the meeting, and we explored some websites by some of the big names kind of that are pushing this a lot. And we looked exactly at what are they saying? What are they saying about sanctuaries? And how do you think that makes our supporters feel? And that's kind of how it played out from there. Yeah. So Sarah, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. It's the idea that there's so much that goes into actual animal activism. It's far beyond just like this is the right way and this is the wrong way. There's so much more nuance to it, and to kind of be punching down to the people who are truly putting the time and putting the effort in is not only going to harm the cause for those smaller organizations, but I think harms the cause as a whole, because it takes away the beings that are truly on, like their lives are on the line. Those small numbers that are advertised, like, oh, this is what a sanctuary does. Those small numbers are full lives to these creatures, to these non-human animals. And to take it as that doesn't matter because we can do a bigger number, I don't think that actually more. There's others.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's like in our meeting, we had a lot of conversations about it, how it comes about, how it makes people feel, and it seems almost like counterintuitive. It's very reductionist to say that one matters and one doesn't. It's like saying you don't need food banks. We need to change all of the reasons why people can't afford food, but people still don't have food. Same thing with a SPCA or an animal shelter. We need to get rid of backyard breeders and pet stores and all these things, but yet there's still animals that need like boots on the ground, like help now. So you need to have that balance of both, and it's really sad to see that it's kind of being like we're being pit against one another, that one's better and one's worse. And I always go back to this quote, and I've used it a million times. It's like saving one animal's life isn't going to change the world, but it's going to change the world for that one animal. And you have to remember they're individuals. As soon as we start grouping them as millions or hundreds or thousands, they lose that individuality, and then you lose the people who see them as individuals and want to save them. When you group them as this big unattainable number that doesn't really have a meaning, when you can see them individually at a sanctuary, for instance, and build those relationships, then it translates into those bigger overreaching policies that need to happen. But without that, there's no intimate connection between people and some abstract number of millions of animals that they've never seen or had a relationship with.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Yeah.
Their cause, because they think by punching down, they're getting more followers and more people listening. But I think in the end, they're actually going to harm their own cause, because it's no longer going to be a connection, it's going to be numbers. And we know that numbers don't have heart in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, it really is. So it really is such a fundamental and very, very important point, which is what is the moral premise of what it is that we are doing? What is the moral premise of the moral universe that they live in? And it may surprise you, but this reminded me of a movie. I was very dismissive of the Marvel franchise, cartoon movie. I mean, movies based on cartoons. Give me a break. But actually, if you guys have seen the Avengers, Infinity War, so the penultimate one, and in fact, the entire movie the entire sequence was actually building exactly to a theme, to this particular theme. And I think there is a line, it really stood out with me, where Thanos comes, if you guys have seen it, to take that, the Mind Stone from Vision. And then Vision says one life should not stand in the way of saving all these many people, because there will be a war if they stop Thanos. He's gonna get to it, but then first he's gonna go through many of them. Why not? Might as well give it to him if it just is after Vision. And Captain America says, so Vision says one life should not stand in the way of this. And Captain America says, but it should. So what I'm trying to say is that it's exactly so. Of course, I'm trying to say that the movie is thematically is very rich, but it's very rich to me is exactly because the whole struggle was around this. What it is, what's this whole fight is all about. So is it about numbers, just save half of the universe if you could just slap your finger, or is it about something much, much more fundamental? And I was saying that to Captain America, and you guys are Captain America in this situation. And I'm with you, by the way. So, you really are. And so it's the Captain America version of morality, and the Thanos one, the economical, calculating, sort of like calculus-based, or the one that's based on the premise that every life should matter. Yeah, that movie just came up to my mind just when we started talking about all of this. And also, I want to say to our followers, so these are the leadership team, Ladies Place, and Ladies Place is a sanctuary in Brunswick, Canada. It's a province that's far east of Canada, and Sarah, Jenny, and oh my God, remind me your name, Jen, Sarah, and
Jamie, Jen, Sarah.
Jamie, Jen, and Sarah. Jamie, I know it's a J, but I'm so sorry. So it's one of the sanctuaries that we have been in touch with. This is the second time I'm having them on the live. They are doing incredibly important work. Please give them a follow, and please look into donating to the sanctuary. Please look into volunteering if you live nearby, and donations are vital for sanctuaries. And I would love to do a lot more, but just for today, I'm going to make a small donation to, of appreciation, $20 or $30. Okay, I'll make $30 today. I'll just do it after I go to my office. And then, so where can people make a donation before we continue? This is just a small break to ground people in context.
Yeah, they can go to liliesplace.ca, and there's donate buttons everywhere there.
Perfect.
The link's in our profile. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, anything would make a huge difference, and I encourage everybody to look into the work of this beautiful organization. And please take the time, just send a message and just say I see you. And it's incredibly brave souls that do that kind of work. And I have to tell you something from my experience over the last couple of years. If you ask me the profile of a founder or somebody heavily involved in a vegan animal sanctuary, I will tell you most likely a woman, most likely with very high levels of empathy, very high levels of intelligence, resilience, and self-effacing and nourishing and caring. This is like the kind of profile. And I would like to people just to take a moment and think, and just not take the work that these incredibly special type of person do day in and day out. It's extremely important. You guys, so because how I liken it, it's like you're the first aid workers, but it's even harder emotionally because you are the first aid workers in a war that your tribe is waging on another tribe. But not only that, you are doing all that work, and the vast majority of your tribe is not even acknowledging that it is at war. And the people who are supposed to understand some of the times, or many of the times, end up saying things like what we were saying earlier, the significance of the work of sanctuaries and the type of activism sanctuaries are doing, and grounding it in all of that. So I have a question for you. So after these sorts of, you said that when people make these kinds of statements, particularly people, maybe have more of a status in the vegans, in the vegan movement. And have you heard any objections or any sort of repetition or echoing by your members? And have you, to your knowledge, have you lost any members as a result of this? That people have heard, okay, this is not the most effective way of doing altruism or doing activism. So let's just give up on this and do something else. Have you run into any cases like that?
And I can't think of a specific they came and left case, but trying to engage the vegan community, the local vegan community here, is very difficult. And I don't know if that is because of some of this type of thinking, because sanctuaries are up against a lot. It's not like this is one big thing, but there's also sanctuaries get lumped in with hoarders, with rescues gone wrong, all kinds of other kind of bad examples of what care looks like, and then we don't get given the time of day to show what we're actually doing. So that's a challenge for sure. And whether that comes from some effective altruism stuff or not, I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think definitely there's probably, I don't think there's things that we've lost, but I think it makes things much harder to gain. And there, I think, is probably sort of the shadow resistance. I mean, operating a sanctuary in the Maritimes is already a challenge on its own. But to throw this on top from what I would say is like people who are supposed to be on our team on the same side makes it even more challenging when you're not just battling the people who don't believe, but also the people who do, but don't believe in you specifically, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We operate in a weird space, right? Because as far as funding and easy routes to support, quote unquote easy, it's for companion animals. It's for wild animals, not domesticated farm animals. So, and I say domesticated because these are animals that we have a duty to care for as the species we are, right? Humans domesticated them so that they have no instincts to survive in the wild. So there's no option other than us taking care of them. Mm-hmm. And like you pointed out, there is a whole system that their version of care is for to turn them into a product. So we're against that, right? Against cultural norms. We're up against funders who will only fund cat, dog, rabbit type of rescues. And then, honestly, because we are very clear that we're a vegan sanctuary, I call it the vegan stink, because sometimes the vegan stink carries around with us, where there are people who are animal lovers and believe, in all kinds of things that, we would be aligned with. But because we have the vegan stink, they also don't want to deal with us. So we're in this really weird space where, like Jen said, some of the funders that are there as vegan organizations for farmed animals, they don't want anything to do with sanctuaries either. So it's like, okay, all right, I get that care is not valued in our society on a whole, whether that's caring for humans, caring for the disabled, all of those sorts of things. It's just undervalued. It's unseen labor that happens. That's what, a sanctuary boils down to a lot of the time.
Yeah. It really is unfortunate. And one of the things that I'm trying to accomplish is that with every transaction that happens on the platform, so there will be thank you for being doing this festival, the usual stuff. And by the way, you have contributed to supporting this particular sanctuary. Check them out, look at their work. This is a highlight, this is that, and this is this. Because it's not only financial, but it's all about those little things, this and that, those small details about what the sanctuary is doing. And I have to tell you something, like for me as a vegan animal rights activist, I honestly, brain like I'm gonna start it, and it's gonna be making a very strong commitment that's gonna resonate extremely well with vegans. You would be surprised the number of times. So yes, there are times where people really cared about this project exactly because of that. But there are many times where I would try to talk to somebody, like build a partnership, do something. It's a very early stage startup. And then you would see like people I've seen, people go to sanctuaries, for whatever their personal branding or their company branding. They will show you cute pictures in animal sanctuaries, the person with this animal and hugging them. I would just think, okay, this person really gets it. But ultimately, the fact that this project ultimately is based around supporting sanctuaries, and that's what it aims to do. It's not to make me or make anybody else rich. How quickly or how it's a fraction of a second. Oh, wow, that's beautiful. That's great. But then the next thing is business as usual. Is that how much for the person, that only stake is how much money can I get out of this guy? How quickly? It's like really cutthroat, really quick, really transactional. And to me, I thought it's like something communal, but it doesn't matter. I think this is part of the challenge. I'm part of sort of like, I'm really realizing how this landscape is. And I'm not being pessimistic at all, but I think it's extremely for us to address these kinds of issues really openly and really honestly. And that's exactly what you guys are doing. And as I said, if anything, it has really increased my commitment to try to do my absolute best. It doesn't matter what the challenges are to come through, because again, for me, it's like a no-brainer. It's not only that you guys are doing this incredible work. You are bearing witness. You are taking a psychological hit, a major psychological hit, being, working at the sanctuary. This is being at the sanctuary, literally being in the front line of a war and dealing with the victims. And again, in a war where the tribe is not, vast majority of the tribe is not even aware that it's, or acknowledging that this is even a war. This is just how things are. And then you bring in incredibly compassionate, empathetic, resilient people, and then you put them there, but there is only so much you could push that resilience without real support and real community. So I please guys, whoever is listening to this, give them a like, give them a follow. Donations are extremely vital, and we will leave the information. But Jenny, can you please remind us of where people can make a donation?
Yep. It's liliesplace.ca, and the link is in our profile. Yeah.
Perfect. Exactly. And plus, they should be able to find it through they can find the information through the Instagram link as well. And please give them a follow. Please send them just a note. Just say thank you. Just I see you. I think probably is gonna go a very long way. So guys, here's my question for you. Dealing with vastly complex logistical issues of running an organization like a sanctuary, having to deal with, and I'm assuming, dwindling donations, because this has been the trend overall. I think there are some organizations have been a little bit, sanctuaries in particular, that have been a little bit safe because they have a little bit of a more extensive teams where they work in such a way that they lose some members, but they are able to sort of at least replace or grow enough that it's not really, that the impacts are not direct. So dealing with all of this and then having to deal with the weight of understanding that what you are doing is not only not fully appreciated and understood by the general public, but you would have to make a point about something that is really obvious and very clear to us, but you would have to make that over and over and again, even within the vegan community. So sorry to be such a downer today, but it's just the topic and the nature of the topic. So.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. Maybe I'll see if Jen has some succinct thoughts, and then I can fill in the space because I have a lot to say about that. So we'll see what Jen says first.
Well, and I think it's a weird time right now, but at a sanctuary, we're never in a good spot. Things are running, but everybody's just it's such a delicate edge of running things, and literally the majority of our time is spent asking for money. How can we get money? How can we get help? Between man hours and actual physical donations of funds. If this was a perfect world, we wouldn't have to spend all of our time trying to figure out how to pay the bills each month. It's also incredibly restrictive because to be a responsible sanctuary, you can't just take every single animal in as much as you want to, because you don't have the funds to then support them for the rest of their lives. And add into the fact how easy it is to burn people out. We're living on the edge. Jamie's been living on the edge for a very long time, and we've got some wonderful key volunteers, but there's only so much they can do before they're done. So it's not like other types of charities or other types of even rescues where they constantly have this influx of funding or huge big fundraisers. Everybody wants to go donate to the Humane Society or whatever. When you look at farmed animal sanctuaries, we're getting, the pie is already small for animals as far as donations, but when it comes to the farmed animal part of that, it's negligible. I think Jamie knows the exact number, but it's ridiculously tiny, and trying to manage all of that on such finite resources it's a really hard balancing act. And the only reason I think for any of us that we're here is because we truly believe in it, and we don't see another way, so we're always trying to find that way. It's hard. It's really hard all of the time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what has kept us on an upward trajectory, while I'm tired physically, mentally, all of those sorts of things, we are seeing an increase in volunteers, we're seeing an increase in funds, and we do have the benefit of me being a previous business owner, so I know we can't do the same thing month after month after month after month. We need to build, sustainable fundraising and donation streamlines. And so partnering with Vegius is one of those things, and building up those monthly sponsors, right? We have a couple monthly sponsors watching us right now. And, no matter how small it is, that builds up and builds up and builds up. And that's what we base our capacity around. How many animals can we help with that? And in the meantime, we really look at this as a community effort. So we are telling the stories of the animals that come in. We're very transparent about what's happening here. And stories have legs, right? If it's a good story, then they start walking, which is awesome. And to your point, you said earlier that sanctuaries are a testament of kind of what's happening out in the world for farm animals. Well, here that works on a very local level too. We'll have an animal come in and their situation is something that people never even heard about before. You know, how is that even happening? I didn't understand. I didn't know that was happening in our community. I didn't even know that's what that meant. And now you're telling them the story while they're looking at that animal. So for example, Bob, he just came in recently. Sarah's husband, Sam, was part of that rescue. So was Jen. And, you know, if we had just listened to what the person was saying about Bob, maybe Bob was okay. Maybe Bob was okay. Then we saw a video and we're like, Bob is not okay. So then went and picked up Bob. And from there, it just got progressively worse as we, learned about the condition that Bob was in. And so our donors and our followers have been taken along that journey from, oh, he's just an old guy with a missing foot and, it's not so bad, to this sheep was living in severe pain, a full body mat, hooves that hadn't been trimmed. He is so weak on that leg that has it has a stump. Had it healed right, had it been cared for, all those things, he'd probably be walking on it like Rosie, our other little lamb, is on her back legs, but he wasn't. And now he's 11. That leg is completely wasted for muscle. And it has taken a lot of care to get Bob feeling okay, where he's not just laying down. He's not just giving up. He is now walking around in the forest. But see, the reason why this story is so important is because there are so many Bobs out there that people know, neighbors who have Bobs and are told Bob is fine and Bob is not fine. Like, Bob is not fine. You can't have a sheep, never do their hooves, never shear them, never vaccinate them. Never understanding that crunch is not him chewing his cud, that's him grinding his teeth from pain. So now everyone that's been here has learned that about Bob. The people on our Patreon has learned that about Bob. Anyone who's paying attention to social media knows that about Bob. So not only do they know Bob's story, now if they're ever around another animal and they hear that crunching, they might know, that might be a sign of pain. And that's a really important thing to know about. So that's why we really think this is a community effort, because you know what? Bob's care so far hasn't been very expensive. So I would challenge any, big initiative that said it costs $2,000 to put on this program. Okay, well, we saved Bob for a whole hell of a lot less. So
I think in those times what the hope that Bob creates and Josie creates. He's exploring, speaking to other animals. He's engaged with the world, that change, and shows that there's these non-animals, they're not too far on, or they're not worth saving. You can see the change in them. Mm-hmm. So something small can create an amazing difference in their lives. You can imagine how much another animal benefit from that help and support.
That's it.
Well, and I think one of the comments I got recently from actually someone I work with, and she found out that I volunteered at a farm animal. She's like, "Well, what do farmed animals need to be saved from? I don't understand," because it had just never been anything on her radar. She understood cats and dogs, that kind of thing, but she couldn't wrap her head. And as soon as I started talking about Rosie or Nancy or now Bob, she's like, I had no idea. And she was floored. It was shocking. I mean, when you're in it, but you forget sometimes that the vast majority never would have encountered this, experienced it, whatever. So when they hear it for the first time and go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Then, I mean, that's a huge win to be able to be like, hey, because planting those little seeds can then grow into like sustainable change. Maybe they want to donate, maybe they want to help, maybe they want to tell their friends or their neighbors, those kind of things, and they've just never experienced it before. So it's really interesting.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, because so you guys are touched on something incredibly important, and I think that is where real cultural transformation could happen. What is the strongest weapon this system of oppression we call animal agriculture has, or any other system of oppression for that reason, for that matter? Invisibility. As long as you're able to make the people or the animals who suffer invisible, you can sell it. Because again, going back to the abstraction of numbers, if you can romanticize numbers, you can demonize numbers. Abstract things you can't do anything with. And that's exactly what happens. What's exactly what you guys are doing. You are the exact antidote to that. Exactly, that's what you're doing, is that you are making people aware that you're dealing with animals, dealing with individuals, you're dealing with sentient beings. Because I think the only vast majority of people, the only time that they see an animal in the past, as complex our relationships with animals were, but people and animals mingle, like they were mingled in the same spaces. But now, the only time they encounter an animal, I mean, maybe a dog or, maybe I'm here by a pond, you could see a goose or something like that. But farm animals, no way. The only time you see them is wrapped up in a plastic next to oranges and apples. So they are very reduced to the same sort of level of being, and they are not something to think about, let alone something to empathize with and try to understand. And to me, that's, as I said, that's why one of the reasons, of course, the beautiful work that you do day in and day out for the animals. But also the other thing that should not be overlooked is that the potential of vegan animal sanctuaries such as yours for cultural transformation. And in fact, this trend, I think humanity as a whole is paying a huge price. I don't think people realize it yet or reflect on it enough. AI. Now there are wars now are fought with AI. Just numbers. People are numbers, and it doesn't matter when in the futures of the war are going to be AI. So, and I have to ask you a question. Where did we learn all of that? Where did we learn to subtract life from its value to the point that it's a number? I think we started it with animals. That's what we started doing. Now this is just a spillover. So anything that is dysfunctional with human relationships, I think ultimately you find its root in the way that we relate to animals. And I think you guys, that's one of the main reasons I just really love the work that you guys do, is exactly providing the cure to that, I think to run away problems that threaten, that even if somebody just selfishly interested in people, they should be interested in farmed animals and the work sanctuaries do, even if they only care for humans. Even if you only care for humans, because you cannot stop those spillovers, following us into this space. Even if somebody only cares for saving humans, only caring about keeping humans, on top of this planet, for topping the sense of being the dominant species, whatever that means, I think they have to give a really hard thought and think really hard about the significance of animal sanctuaries and what they do. So I have one more question for you guys. So how do you see the future going forward? And do you see trends that give you hope in terms of the way people are reacting to your work, the way that you feel that people are collectively kind of getting it, or do you think we have a long way before we get to that stage?
Well, I think okay, I'll do a prediction. Okay. I think right now the vast majority of people are starving for community and connection. And with AI, I think, sure, it's going to make some of our job tasks easier. When we want to, have it look at 3 different ebooks and tell us what the takeaways are. That's a really good way to use it. But we still need to process some of that information through communication, through connecting with other people, and AI in its form right now, it has so much bias, right? And so do people. But the more people you talk to, the broader your mindset might get. You at least have more input. So I think that this actually creates a really big opportunity for organizations like ours who are already trying to be in conversation with our community, with other people. And the more we keep that conversation going, not just one way, but actually talking to people where they are at. Have you ever heard of a farm animal sanctuary? Have you ever met a sheep? All the things. And like with Jen, she was talking to her neighbor or coworker, like, what do they need rescue from? And Jenny said it in the chat, well, people eat them. Like, that's one of them. Like, what don't they need rescue from? All of the things. But people aren't going to just go to AI and have a big change. And the more we're using things that aren't, the more we're siloed off, working from home and all those sorts of things without actually communicating with other people, the more people will crave that. And hopefully we'll be able to be in conversation with them. That's how stories really go. It's like, I talked to my neighbor and they said this thing. Right. Okay. Right. That all of a sudden has validity. You trust your neighbor and now you trust the story. So that's my prediction, that we're going to see even more of a lonely planet, even more feeling like we don't have enough connection. And that being an opportunity for us to invite people into our, what we're doing. That's my prediction.
I hope you're right. I think people are going to get tempted by AI, but then also realize I need something other than a robot in my life. And I think it's a big draw, and why those stories are so important is because that's what pulls you in. You can show stats and figures and whatever all you want, or have AI tell you some story. But when you're actually seeing a video or you're there in person, helping do chores, pet a sheep, give meds to a sheep, all of those things, you can't simulate that connection unless you're there. There's no artificial way to do that. And I think that's what really draws people in. And I know, for me, it's just it just tugs at your heart. You cannot look away. You cannot ignore it when you meet these animals and hear their stories and see how much they've healed and thrived being in sanctuary. You can't walk away from that. And hopefully that will be that connection, that draw, because we're people, we're not robots. We need to have some kind of connection, and sometimes connecting to animals is easier than people. They don't have to say anything. You don't even have to touch them, but you just feel it. And hopefully I think that'll be the big draw, is to have people come and be like, oh my gosh, I was able to help do sheep things, and I met this great sheep and I was able to pet them, and I couldn't believe a sheep had such personality.
Yeah. And it's amazing that they still trust us. It's amazing that these animals still trust us.
And
even after all they've been through, which is wild.
Yeah. And even if it's so virtual and online, the genuineness that comes from sanctuaries, where you can see the love and the passion and the heart that goes into it. And I think people connect with that. They connect with the fact that they see these individuals who are there and caring for each other, both the human animals and the non-human animals, being there and caring and having that emotional connection. Even if you can't be there in person, I feel like people crave that and want to engage that and encourage that. And I think if we can welcome them into this family, it can help feel that connection and that fullness, even if they can't. Because there are people who are also homebound and who aren't connected, come into those and being able to know that they're making a difference, even if they can't physically be there, can be a whole different world for that person, and that makes a whole new world for that animal as well.
Yeah, and I think Sarah and I think you both said it about the innocence of the individuals. I think Levi, she was a turkey that lived here, and she like you said, she trusted us no matter what. she was the most vulnerable individual here, and she trusted anyone. She was just a pure, kind, trusting soul. Like, if you sat down, she's like, I'm going to get in your lap. Thank you very much, because we're friends now. And like, that made so many people go, turkeys are like that? Yeah, she's a turkey. This is what turkeys are like. And, that was not what turkey meant in their mind, right? That was just a type of food. And it's like, no, it's the most innocent, most vulnerable individual, and the most trusting of people. And I mean, I don't know how many people, she flipped their worldview on one meeting, and that was that. Yeah.
Oh my God. Somebody just said Levi was my main reason for becoming vegan, which is exactly a confirmation of what we have been talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I just want to say, I think I'm going to go to the shade because my phone is telling me that it is, as we wrap up, just telling me that it's getting really hot. I'm actually outside. I'm at UC Davis. I'm in the astronomy department. I do research there, so I just walked outside because, to give a little bit of a lively sort of scenery. It's a very beautiful campus, and I'm sitting outside under the sun. So I just wanted to wrap up. And thank you guys so very much for joining us today and for being part of this conversation. I really, really enjoyed contacting with you in the past, still talking with you. And as I said, we are very, very close to launching the app. And to me, I created that app just exactly for this reason. Not only will we be donating 50% to sanctuaries, we will be adding a tracker on it so that everybody will be able to see where the money actually goes. It's incredibly important for me that this comes from a place of heart and place not just compassion, but place of transparency. Just in case I'm out of the picture, nobody can really change much. But if somebody tries to change it, try to hide things, you realize that something is off. So just making it really, I'm thinking about the future. I absolutely believe in the beautiful work that you do, and I think it's extremely transformative. Volunteering at Vegan Animal Sanctuaries has changed my life, has touched me like very, very few things have. You guys do immensely important work. How you do it, I mean, I'm committed. Your level of commitment is another league. I wish. No, it really is. I just see what you guys do. It's like, this is, it's just, I just realized that I have a lot to learn yet. No, I really do. I really mean it from the bottom of my heart, because I came close enough to see the logistics involved and the sort of bravery and the sort of patience and the sort of all of these amazing qualities. And to me, so this one more thing I was thinking about yesterday was about this idea of influencers. So in this vegan space now we have this idea of influencers, and sometimes I see people taking pictures with cute animals, and I hope that helps people become vegan. I really certainly do. But I really feel the real influencers are people like these three beautiful souls right here in front of me that are not there day in and day out on social media, but they're in the behind. Not that different people make different choices and they see activism differently, but this is one type of activism where people silently fighting it day in and day out, and it's a type of beauty that they manifest that I just hope more people see. And then I just hope people please follow Lily's Place. Please consider becoming members. Follow them on social media. Just say thank you. Just make a donation. I'll make a donation today, as I said, but then in the near future, I really would love to become a member. Just for right now, because I'm self-funding the entire project. I'm very stretched thin, but that does not mean that I should not try and make even a larger commitment. So anything you guys would like to add before we wrap up for today?
I'm not good at little wrap-ups, so I'll let
I'll wrap up. Say so much for having us. It really means a lot to be able to be the voices to those who don't have them. Is incredibly gratifying and important, and we thank you for opening up your platform to be able to have this conversation and opening up your platform in terms of your app as well to continue that goal and continue that journey that we're having in the vegan community and as sanctuaries and everyone else who is working for the betterment of animal welfare and lives.
Absolutely.
And I'll just
absolutely.
Do a shameless plug. I know you talked about follow, likes, and donations. I don't think people realize the impact the tiny actions have. Like, you don't have to come in with a wad of cash. Liking things, sharing things, commenting on posts, that all has a huge impact. It's not just monetary. As much as we like donations, if you can't, that's okay. You can do other things. Same thing with volunteering. Myself, I'm in another province. So is Sarah. So you don't have to be in New Brunswick to volunteer either. We have a group of local volunteers, but we also have like our like laptop warriors, like people who can do things virtually. So if you want to get involved but you don't know how, just reach out. 9 times out of 10, there's something that you can do that we can set up for you, and it doesn't have to necessarily involve money or in-person time. So those little things make a big difference too. So don't think that you're not helping just because you like to post or followed us on social media. That actually does make a big difference.
And it boosts our morale.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I was saying just a simple message of I see you. That's all you have to say. Yes. I see you. Mm-hmm. I mean, because isolation, I think isolation, it is a natural consequence of aid workers. And as I said, this is not just aid worker, this is aid worker with some major complications. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just basic recognition, basic empathy, basic understanding, and just slow down and really take a minute to recognize some of the most beautiful souls sharing this planet with you today. And as I said, it's just the last 2 years have taught me a lot. I mean, the more I learned what people like you do, the more I just realized that I personally have a long way to go to become a better person and to manifest a little bit more. So we will be in touch, guys, and for sure we will. I would love to invite you again. And in fact, I'm thinking about even like mixing it up in the sense of introducing different sanctuaries to each other. So we could have a live, maybe you and then some sanctuary from Australia or somewhere else, and then so we could build the global community together. We have a long way to go. I mean, all of us do, but as long as we live, there is always hope. And ultimately, I just want to remind people what was the ultimate topic or the ultimate foundation for our conversation today. It was really which kind of universe you live in. A universe where simply a life is a life. You sit down, you slow down, you look into the eyes of some sentient being in front of you, and you recognize a life is a life. This is how I want to live my life. And then you let everything else follow from there. Mm-hmm. Or a universe where we have converted mentally to compassion, in the sense that, okay, we want compassion, but we are still reproducing the same false premises that oppressing animals has produced culturally. So now these things are so ingrained structurally that it's really hard to overcome, and which is, these are just numbers. So if I kill them, they're just numbers. If I help them, what is the most number-friendly way to do it? This leadership team of Lily's Place exactly are arguing, and I'm 100% with them, that is just the wrong way to do it. There are other, and of course, there are all types of activism, but in terms of premise, that is just the wrong thing to sort of like communicate out there to people. A life is a life, and then everything naturally is going to follow from there. So thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day, and you really made my day, made my week actually. I may make actually my month. So it's yeah.
Thank you.
I made my month. Thank you. We'll do it again.
Thanks
have a wonderful day. And absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time, and let's meet again. Let's talk again. We'll be in touch. Bye, guys. Have a lovely day.
Bye.
Bye.